Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King. We'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, is a piece of God. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God is the master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, it's produced by the Society of Knowledge. The Society is an interdenominational ministry. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being. By no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Jehovah, Buddha, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. We know that there is indeed an almighty being. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show. And that's to deliver the message that that being, that personally I call God, that being is indeed almighty. Today is March the 3rd, 2022. I remind you of that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. If there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life, I invite you to share your testimony. Share with the world. Let the world know that God is working miracles. That's right, March 3rd, 2022. The God that I'm going to tell you about is working miracles. And you might be in need of a miracle right now. Let me just share something with you. Be encouraged. You know, you might be in need of a miracle right now. You may be struggling with an addiction. It might be an alcohol addiction. It might be a drug addiction, a gambling addiction, a gossiping addiction. It may be some addiction that you're struggling with and you're trying to get rid of it. I'm going to tell you right now that God can remove it from you. Remove that desire from you. No matter what you might have tried in the past, no matter what failed in the past, the God I'm here to tell you about can work a miracle in your life, even if it's a cancer that you're dealing with right now. And you know, we hear so much about that nowadays, Brother Nelson. We hear about folks coming up with all different kinds of cancer, trying all different kinds of medicines, all types of surgeries, and nothing is working. Well, I tell you what, I know that God can cure it. It's not because somebody told me about it. It's not because I read about it. It's because I know personally that God is working miracles. Not worked miracles thousands of years ago. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about today, March 3rd, 2022. God is working miracles, curing those folks that the doctor said couldn't be cured, healing folks financially, unexpectedly coming into wealth, mending relationships, folks that have been broken up, and God bringing them back together. So God can indeed work a miracle. And that, as I said earlier, today is March the 3rd of 2022. Yep, 2 months are already gone. Isn't that something? 2 months in 2022 already gone. We'll have our religious spiritual study And we're reminded always to prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of the first book, Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. And after that, we'll have our announcements, then testimonies. And if you have a testimony, you heard me make the invitation a minute ago. If you have a testimony, if you have something that God has done for you in your life, and don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to testify. Let folks know what God has done for you. In our discussion topic tonight, as I said a minute ago, we're going to continue with our discussion about the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, when we were planning this discussion, and Brother Israel made a suggestion about this topic, and we were discussing it and figured it was 12 tribes, and maybe we can have this covered within, maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks. But last week, we only got 2 tribes out of 12. So, we're not in a rush. We're not in a hurry. We'll take our time. And we invite everyone. Matter of fact, let me pull this slide off. It's one of the things about the society, and I say that we're interdenominational. And what that means is not non-denominational. It's interdenominational. And the difference, when you say non-denominational, that means no nomination, no name, okay, no religious affiliation. Well, that's not who or what we are. Okay, the Society of Knowledge is interdenominational. That means that we have members that are Catholic, members that are Muslim, members that are, it doesn't matter what name you give yourself, you're welcome to be a member of the society. And what's so great about that, in my opinion, what's so great about it, what's so attractive about it, is that you have an opportunity to be around others that may not have been raised the same way you were raised. You have an opportunity to be around others that may have been taught different things than you were taught. You have an opportunity to be around others that might think differently, might believe differently from the way you do. You have an opportunity to be around them and not fight with them. Be around them and learn from them. Be around them and share your knowledge with them. The Society of Knowledge. And if we can be amongst each other, no matter what name we call ourselves, if we can be amongst each other in fellowship, interact, mingle and commingle with each other, I love that. I don't have to believe everything that you believe. And I can still converse with you, still share with you. And as I say, for the members of the society, there's one belief that we share. And that's the belief that there is indeed an almighty being. So that brings us together. Now, we can have all different types of discussions about what that being's name is. We can have all different types of discussions about different aspects of that being. We can have all kinds of discussions about what the message means to us. And the message is that God is almighty. That's the message. And to some folks, it has one meaning, to other folks, it has another meaning. We can have discussions about all of that. But as I say, the beautiful thing to me about the society is that word is that we can have discussions. We don't have to fight each other. We can have discussions about it. And being open like that, that openness, that acceptance, that's unifying. And this show, the message, one of the things that we do when we have our discussions, our religious, spiritual discussions, that allows us to learn and also to teach, to learn things that we may not know, and to teach others that may not know things that we do. So there's all different types of religions, all different types of spiritual aspects that we discuss on this show. And to me, what it does to me, and that might sound selfish, I keep saying to me, what it does for me is it brings me closer and gives me a deeper understanding of exactly who and what God is, the one, the all in all. So when I read in the Bible where God says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, I have an understanding of what that means. The Alpha and the Omega, the all in all. All right. Our words of inspiration tonight, they'll come out of the book of Exodus, starting chapter 12, verses 32 to 51. What you see on your screen right now, that's our main website. That's www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you, I encourage you to lock that website into your web browser, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can visit that website, and there are links to all of our social media outlets. We have a blog, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Go to that main website, and there are links to all of that. Our Lafayette, Louisiana Center of the Society, that's presided over by Messenger Ryan King. We have an Opelousas Center that's presided over by Messenger Corey Levier. And our Central Florida Center that's presided over by Messenger Tanav L. COVID-19, please get vaccinated. And I know that a lot of the mask mandates here in the state of Louisiana and in the city of New Orleans, a lot of the mask mandates have been lifted, have been ended. But still, take precautions, take care of your health. If you haven't been vaccinated, get vaccinated. I was able to go out this past week and participate in the Mardi Gras activities and be around all my people. I thank God for that. And I thank God that I had my vaccinations and my booster. That helped me, helped my body to be able to deal with COVID, any of its after effects. So if you haven't been vaccinated, please go get vaccinated. And the life you save may be your own. Imani Temple number 49, located here in the city of New Orleans. I'm sorry, Imani Temple number 49, located in Lafayette, Louisiana. And that's presided over by Bishop Milton. Had the opportunity to spend a little time with the bishop this last week. It's great. Every time we get together, that's great. Have a great time. Imani Temple number 28, located here in the city of New Orleans, presided over by Bishop Wendy Mead. Something last week, some information. I'm going to keep repeating this information. Brother Wills, thank you for joining us on Facebook, Brother Wills. And Brother Wills, if you know anyone that needs a job, the Louisiana Workforce Commission is actually paying tuition for folks to go to truck driving school, paying tuition for folks to go get their CDL license so they can become a truck driver. And as you know, truck drivers are in demand now, and truck drivers make decent money. So if you know someone that needs a job, they can get paid to go to school to learn how to be a truck driver, get their CDL license, and start a new career. So go to that website, that's www.laworks.net. Go to that website, and you're able to get your CDL license and get it paid for. As always, previously recorded episodes of The Message can be watched on television on Cox Cable Orleans, Channel 76, on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And always 24/7, you can go to our YouTube channel, and that's at DNK Messenger. And there are years of videos of The Message, and you can just go and check it out. Okay, let's see. We go into our religious spiritual study discussion. See if we can bring Brother Israel in. See if Brother Israel. We can. See if we can stop the screen share. All right, Brother Israel. See if we can get Brother Israel in. All right, yeah, Brother Israel's coming on. All right, brother. How you doing, brother?
Peace, greetings. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. All right. Well, brother, let's we started the discussion last week, and this discussion about the 12 tribes of Israel. And when we're dealing with the Bible and dealing with other ancient works and even more recent works, sometimes there's several different meanings and several different levels of understanding that we can get out of them. And so a lot of us throughout the years have heard about the 12 tribes of Israel and, the 12 sons of Jacob. And as we talked last week, brother, you mentioned that sometimes folks refer to it not as the 12, but the 13. Because
I
Jacob,
do. I don't hear nobody do that. That's part of what I've been teaching. I haven't heard anyone on YouTube in this city. No one talks about that. So it's something I'm bringing forth.
All right. All right. When there's and just for our edification, some sharing a little knowledge with some of the viewers. That's something that you can actually, and we see at the beginning of this show, we always say Thessalonians prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
Yeah.
Some of you may hear Brother Israel speak about the 13 tribes. Well, he's not the only brother. Now you can go on. You might have to do a little bit research, not scratching the surface, just dig a little bit deeper. But you'll see this reference to the 13 tribes. And I think, what is it? His daughter's name was Dinah.
Yes.
All right. So that's where the 13 come in. But again, I'm not the expert on this subject. And not only am I not the expert on the subject, but I thank Brother Israel for coming on and suggesting this topic and for doing the research and sharing it with us. So, Brother Israel, with all that being said, why don't you open it up for us, brother?
Well, I like to say peace, greetings in all languages, the viewers, whatever, your spiritual clothing or whatever it is, peace. This here was about bringing to light biblical evidence that the 12 tribes of Israel or 13 tribes are actually the zodiac signs. And it's like you say, people have their different beliefs, but I'm not dealing with beliefs. I'm dealing with biblical evidence and real science when I talk about this. So this is not belief. This is like, it's, if you believe in the Bible, hey, it's a belief. But other than that, this is actual things that I see in reality. What is 1,000 years old? It's today, the stars are right now, the stars are up right now. The stars are Pisces, according to modern scientists. They named those stars Pisces right there, that are above our head right now. So all this stuff is relevant because even thousands of years ago, those particular stars that's called Pisces now had various names, so for me, there's biblical evidence that the 12 zodiac 13 signs is astrological. For me, it puts to rest the confusion and the fussing that I see a lot of these different groups do in regards to it's supposed to be about Christ and people working together, but I see all these different factions fighting, like everybody had their own Christ and stuff. So I'm just doing something that's more greater than wanting to fight and debate, just bringing lessons, teaching, and they're biblical.
All right. Well, last week we were able to get to 2 of the tribes, and I don't know if that was your plan to pick it up from there, or how you like to proceed?
Yeah, we was we could get back into Nefertali. How would you pronounce that name?
Okay, well, let's see. You don't have it up, my brother. Let me see something because you did.
Well, what you could do,
Yeah, Naphtali. 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 And that's just my pronunciation.
all right, all right, all right. Remember I told you I read from sex symbol in the stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it says Nefertali. The biblical variance is Nephilim in Matthew 4:13.
Mm-hmm.
And you have another variant of Nefertali as Nephilim in Genesis 10:13. And in Chronicles 1, first book 1:11, you have that the name Patah means to open. In the all these two things in the Bible. Nefertali, which I'm saying come from what these teachers saying come from the Kemetic root etymology Neph Patah El. And I just read to you the biblical variants in the Bible in Matthew and Genesis and Chronicles. And it's funny that the Hebrew word that's used in the Bible and the Torah, Patah, which is a P-T-E-H sound, Patah, it means to open. And in ancient Kemet, there's a divine father who go by the name of Patah, and he's known as the great opener. And once again, I say that Nefertali equals the Aries ram sign, which is a fire cardinal sign. And Aries opens up the zodiac, in regards to how that stuff is set up in the heavens. So I just want to touch on that and to move a little further. I ain't gonna go too much deeper into the name of Nefertali, but I know we have Nef, the Nef part of the name comes from the Egyptian word Neb, which means fire or light and air. And the Patah part of the name comes from the Hebrew word meaning opening, and the ancient African word means open, Patah. And we know what the L is. The L, like I explained last week, the L is symbolic of the Most High in those ancient languages. So even in the name of Nefertali, or Nefertali, however you want to say it, you have the etymology roots of African words which describe air, explosion, fire, light, and opening. And in the Bible, in the biblical, it says, that Nefertali is a hind let loose. He give it goodly words. A hind is a female red deer. And I said last time that red correlates to the fiery type of the sign. Red is the first color of the spectrum, as Aries is the first zodiac sign. And let loose implies unbridled energy, the sexual energy of a hind in heat, arousing a stag who is a ram. So it's all symbolism in regards to that. So I want to end it right there on Nefertali, Nefertali. People could go through more research if
Yeah, and what I'm doing now is we were speaking about those names, and I wanted just for some of our viewers that may not be aware, the names that you're speaking about are the names of of Jacob's children. So when you speak about Naphtali, that's the actual name in the Bible of one of Jacob's children.
Correct.
And what I was looking for is I was actually looking, and I'm we're in Genesis when it speaks about Jacob. Uh, when Jacob actually they list all of the names of his children, and was looking yeah
Thank
actually
you.
in Genesis 30, I'm looking at 36. In
I
Genesis
thought it was in
30,
Genesis 49 where they're saying all his children.
Genesis 49. All
Yeah.
right.
Let me show.
Right. Yeah, that's when he gives them, he predicts them, what's gonna happen to them. And I'm looking 49, and I'm looking when you're speaking about Naphtali just now.
You speak of Naphtali in 49:21,
All
chapter
right.
49, verse 21.
Right. His hind let loose.
He giveth goodly words.
Mm-hmm. All
And
right.
what is a hind? A hind is a female red deer. So they
Mm-hmm.
calling a man a female red deer. That's another story. I ain't gonna get into that.
All right. So these are, and just I was just wanted to throw that in there, a little background for some of our viewers that may have had some wonderment as far as where these names actually came from and whatever link they had. And if when you finish reading through Genesis 49, you see actually in Genesis 49 verse 28, all these are the 12 tribes of Israel. So there's that reference to the 12 tribes. And as Brother Israel brought out, that there's actually a 13th, and that is Jacob's or Israel's daughter. All right, brother. And I want to thank my wife for joining us on Facebook. And if I could just get a minute, Brother Israel.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, we spoke last week about the constellations, and we're talking about the constellations tonight. And we spoke, we had Messenger Corey came on. He was speaking about how, the sun shines on all of us. No matter who we are, no matter what our station in life, the sun shines on all of us. And just reflecting on that, reflecting on the concept of particularly, let's say, the constellations. And as you were saying earlier, that depending upon the time of the year, a particular constellation might be overhead, that we might be under a particular constellation. And I think you mentioned that right now we're under the constellation of Pisces, the fish. Well, one of the reflection that I had earlier, and it really is, it was something to me to reflect on, that a lot of times we have in our minds, and we think from the perspective of things in the sky moving, the stars moving, the constellations moving, when in fact, it's not them moving, it's us moving, us on this little ball that we call the Earth. That constellation is there in that position, and it doesn't move, it's there. What's happening is that we on this ball, we're moving and we're rotating. Not only we're rotating like this, but rotating like this at the same time. And because of our rotations, our movement, it causes us at a particular time to see a particular constellation. So we have Pisces up here and Aries down here. And here in the middle of this ball, well, when we're on the top of the ball and the ball's like this, we see Pisces. When that ball rolls around, we're seeing Aries. And that, the brother, that goes to some of the real ancient stuff where folks that were supposedly scientists thousands of years ago, particularly European scientists, that taught that the world or the earth revolved around, or the sun revolved around the earth, where actually it's the earth that's doing the revolving, that we're part of the system.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off,
Okay,
but for me,
mm-hmm.
because when you get into that, especially when you get into that from a European perspective, you start dealing with trickery and lies and deception. So for me, I just look at it how the blacks, the melanated people of India say. They just say it's the great cosmic dance where everything is dancing and whirling around each other. They don't say one thing is fixed. They say everything is dancing in the great cosmic dance. So you have these people teaching this flat earth stuff, that the earth is stationary and everything is rotating around it. And you have modern science explaining what you just explained. So for me, I know one thing, that there is something up there called this light that we call the sun, the on, and there are other lights up there when we enter darkness of nighttime. So that's a fact. No matter if it's a flat earth or a round earth, we spinning around, or it's just spinning around us. They are there every day.
All right.
No matter none of that. They're there every day. And we see them every day. No matter we spinning or they're spinning, they're there. That's the fact. So let's deal with the facts. And he mentioned the sun. To me, Jacob in that prophecy in 49 is symbolic of the sun setting. He's on his dying bed and he's prophesying his children because he's dying. Well, when the sun is dying or setting, we enter darkness, and these astrological signs or these children come about. So for me, this is more not about political, religious mind control stuff. This is more of a spiritual level, real teachings of what I consider divine, what I consider God, or what I consider the goddess. This is the higher teachings of these things.
All right. Well, there's some folks that are going to, some folks like steak, some folks like hamburger. So right now, where we are now with the discussion on that level about the dance and about something that you said a minute ago, and that they are there now. They are all right. So now let's go into that for some of us that interested in what that they is. Why don't you just expound on that a little bit more, brother?
Well, when I say they, I mean what people call the stars, what we've been taught through modern American curriculums and education, that those things are called stars. I'm talking about those, what we call the stars, and the different connections that they make, that makes up so-called constellations or zoo types or things that look like animals. Oh, if you remember playing Connect the Dot as a child, connecting the dots and you get characters, so I'm talking about they are the so-called children of Israel. And I have way more, the 12 judges. I can explain how the 12 judges are zodiac. I can explain how the 12 tribes of Ishmael are zodiac. I mean, all of this stuff, to me, this is star signs. And there's something greater that I'm alluding to when I say this is star signs. I ain't even get into that yet. Yes, this is about God. Yes, this is about divinity. Everything I talk about is about our divinity. Don't never get me twisted. I'm definitely always talking about the divine.
All right, but we're gonna go. Brother, we're gonna go as deep as the Spirit allows us to go. And what I do want to do is the last night. I think I did it already, and that's to acknowledge my wife and
Yes.
thank her for joining us on Facebook. Yes. But I want to keep an eye on the clock because I do want to allow the last 5 minutes to go into our words of inspiration. But a lot of times when we get to talking about spiritual matters, it gets to me, it gets to delving into and melding with discussions of just pure science. And you just made a statement earlier about darkness being out there, and it's one of the concepts in physics. And physics is a hard enough science to understand, period. But when you start getting into quantum physics and things such as that, and they start talking about things like dark matter, dark matter. Now, this is not science fiction. This is not spirituality. This is not religion. This is, science. And he's speaking about dark matter in different levels of existence. Now, we can have modern day scientists that break out their calculators and the rest of that and come up with all scientific calculations and all the rest of that. But one of the things, brother, that I'm of the opinion of, that the same way that we have scientists that have come up with equations and come up with all these, you might call it hypotheses or theories or whatever, and postulates, that there were scientists multi-thousands of years ago that came up with different ideas and knowledge that our modern day scientists with their supercomputers and everything else are just starting to scratch the surface on. So when we start talking about, different levels of existence and realities, I think there's some things that were laid out thousands of years ago and maybe just laid out in such a fashion right in front of our faces that we see something and we think we're reading, Greek, when actually it is written in Portuguese. But hey, brother, I see you writing something down, brother.
Yeah, because you mentioned dark matter and quantum physics and things of that nature. And I could get back because the next sign I want to go to is Issachar, who is the bull. But I'm gonna show this right fast. I don't know if you can really see this.
All right. Okay. What's it, 9%?
90% dark matter, 10% light, right?
All right.
Now this represents the brain. The left brain is this 10%, and this right brain is this 90%. Like the ocean is 90% and land is this 10% of the explore of the known. So it's funny that when Abraham was told to give his 10% to Melchizedek, there's a whole science going on with giving 10% to Melchizedek. Because when you get into the science of Melchizedek and you break down the word, all this stuff needs to be how we taught in school, broke down to the very last compound. When you do the etymology of it, you'll see that Melchizedek is dark matter. Melchizedek is the darkness, Melchizedek is the right brain. And giving that 10% does not necessarily mean giving 10% of your physical material earnings every week. You know, it's mean giving 10% of all this mundane stuff you do, moving away from, you know, your earthly duties and giving to the 90%, which is the dark matter. And it's funny, 90% that dark matter, Melchizedek is God. So I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff going on, but that's just a little something since you mentioned dark matter.
All right. All right. We have about another 5 or 6 minutes, brother. And I know, so we've let's see, last week, the tribes that we did last week, and I think we might have touched back upon them again this week. I want to listen so that we can kind of keep track. Okay, so last week, which ones? Because I don't have a list of them in front of me. But if you
We're
can
only
recall,
two, which is Pisces and Aries, which is Zebulon and Naphtali. And I wanted to get in Issachar right fast, who is the Taurus, the bull, which is a fixed earth sign. And Issachar is described as a slavish beast of burden. It says in Genesis 49:15 again, a strong ass couching down between two burdens and bowed his shoulders to bear and became a servant. Now, bulls are strong and renowned for their great strength. Thus, you know, they're used for beasts of burden, and asses were used as the same as beasts of burden. So bulls and asses are renowned to be for their stubbornness, you know, their stubbornness, which is an appropriate trait of a fixed earth sign in the zodiac. Stubbornness signifies the earth principle of firmness, unyielding, and rigid hardness. You know, that's just a connection of Issachar being Taurus the bull, because once again in Genesis 49:14-15, they relate to him as some type of slavish beast of burden. And you could look at it again. It said a strong ass couching between two burdens and bowed his shoulders to bear and became a servant. And we all know throughout history, bulls are mainly, you know, beasts of servants, a burden. So that's the correlation and the connection with Issachar initially being connected with Taurus the bull. And if you look at the map I gave you last time, when you look at the landmass, when you see Issachar connected with Aries and Pisces, even the land, Naphtali, Zebulon, and Issachar, they're all connected. Just how Pisces, Aries, and Taurus run in a connection.
All right.
What's up?
What I'm trying to do right now is, and I'm doing this for myself and for our viewers. Okay, we're speaking about the 12 tribes, and one of them that be Issachar. And if you can look in Genesis, as you stated, Genesis 49:14, there it speaks about Issachar. Last week we spoke about the tribe of Zebulon, and that's Genesis 49:13. And we've been speaking about Aries, and Aries is associated with what tribe?
Naphtali.
Naphtali. All right, and that's 49:21.
Right.
And then we spoke about Pisces,
which was Zebulon. Yes.
That's Zebulon. Okay, that's Pisces. All right. All right.
The haven of the sea.
All right, and that's 49:13. All right.
Yes. So we spoke of the haven of the sea. We spoke of the hind. Now we're speaking of a strong ass couch between two burdens and bowed his shoulders to bear and became a servant. We're speaking of Taurus the bull, the fixed earth sign. you know. Now check this out. It goes even further when we get now into the Jewish or the Hebrewish and the African etymology of the word. Issachar is as secure. The Hebrew word ish means a virile male, and secure means male, right? Because his name is Issachar. But if you break that word down into two, it's a two-syllable word. Now the funny thing about it, in the Nile Valley, the god Osir has various names for his bull aspect. One is Apis, and one of his bull aspect is Sakar. He's known as Sakar, Osir Sakari. So you see the Ashakar, Ishakar, you hear the Sakar. Sakar, once again, means a viral male in Hebrew. And in ancient Egypt, the god Shakar is one of the names for the bull. And we all know that also in ancient Egypt, while the sun was in the sign of Taurus, he was called Osiris Shakor. You know, and they say the bull is the art symbol of masculinity. Bulls are so well endowed for centuries that penises were used as whips, hence the term bull whips. So we're talking about the viral aspects of masculinity when we talk about Issachar being the bull or being Taurus the bull.
All right, a couple of things. One I'd like for, another book that you referenced. Why don't you give us that name again so, our viewers would know that book?
Yeah, Symbols, Sex, and the Stars.
Symbols, Sex, and is there any place local that it can be gotten?
No.
All right. Okay. I'm sure we can go online and find that. It's something I'd like to do for next week. Brother James, thank you for joining us on Facebook, Brother James. One of the things I'd like to do for next week, we've covered, so far we've got 3 of the tribes, and maybe I'll miss one, but looks like we have 3 of them: Naphtali, Issachar, and Zebulun. And let's see if we can come up with maybe 4 or 5 that we'll cover next week. So 2 more weeks to be to cover all 12 of them. If you can just tell us maybe the 4 or 5 that we can aim for next week.
I mean, just running in order, the order of it is we have, so I was just doing the order. We have Gemini after Taurus. You have Simon and Levi, which is Gemini the twins. You have Cancer, which is Benjamin, and you have Leo, which is Judah. So I don't want to just give it all away, but yeah, that'll be
okay.
the next 3.
So all right. So for next week,
Simon and Levi, showing how they are Gemini the twins.
Simon and Levi. All right, yes. Those 2 tribes. All right.
And showing how Benjamin is Cancer. Simon and Levi is 1 tribe. It's not 2, but let me explain that.
All right. Okay, well, we've done 3 tribes so far, so we got 9 more to go. So we have Simon, Levi, and Benjamin. That's 3.
Judah.
Which one? Judah. Where you okay, your audio is going out.
I say we could touch on Judah too, since you're trying to get 3 or 4.
Judah, all right.
Which Leo, which we all know that the line of Judah is so obvious.
All right. All right. So, all right. Well, this is you know what? Let's put another one for next week, since you said that Simon and Levi are one sign. Right. All right. So let's do another one.
We're gonna do what the one who is always neglected in the by the biblical rewriters of the Bible. Those who rework and rewrote the Bible, they downplay this Virgo goddess, Dinah.
All right. All right. So we're going to do Simon, Levi, Benjamin, Judah, and Dinah for next week, those tribes. And it's a little bit of a misnomer. We talk about the 12 tribes, but actually the 13. All right, so we do 5 next week and 5 the following week. That'll take us through 13. All right,
Yeah.
brother. You have any you got about a minute. Look, any closing comments, brother?
Well, this has been done for me to show that there's more to what we think, we know. There's always more. And knowing this is about knowledge and increasing your will. So this is not about just some frivolous feel good. I don't do feel good stuff. This is about knowing and enhancing, our mental abilities of what we understand about this reality. So this is what this about.
All right, brother. All right, brother. I thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing that info with us, sharing that knowledge. And I say I'm looking forward to next week, learning a little bit more about the 13 tribes of Israel. All right, brother. Peace, brother.
Yeah. All right, peace. The Lord is King.
All right. All right. Let's see if we can. All right, let's see if we can close out in these last, again, I want to thank Brother Israel for sharing that information with us, sharing that knowledge with us. And if you have a discussion topic that you would like for us to explore here on the message, contact me, let me know, and we can, we can make that happen. Our words of inspiration tonight. We didn't get to the book of Exodus, but it's one of the things that came out of our discussion about the 12 tribes. And that's the interconnectivity. The interconnectivity. You heard Brother Israel earlier make a reference to those puzzles that maybe some of us used to do when we were younger, that connect the dots. And after you connect those dots, you come up with a picture or an image. Well, that's inspiring to me. And what's so inspiring is you may perceive yourself, you may think of yourself as being a dot. You may think of yourself as being a dot that's hanging out there all alone. And loneliness at times can be a very, very terrible thing. You may be going through some things right now in your life and trying to figure out how you can carry your burden, and just thinking in your mind that you're out there by yourself. Well, I just find it inspiring. I find it strengthening to know that even though it might look like I'm a dot over here standing by myself, and you're a dot over there standing by yourself, and he's a dot and she's a dot, and all of us are standing by ourselves. It's inspiring for me to know and for me to understand that we're not just dots standing by ourselves, that there is this connection, this connectivity. There is this binding force that we are indeed all part of one body. You know, when we have those little puzzle books, we have to get our crayon, our ink pen, our pencil, and draw a line to connect those dots. But I'm here to share with you that it might not be a line that you can see with your eyes, but there's a line that maybe you have to open up your third eye to be able to see it. Lines that you might have to have some understanding. As Jesus Christ spoke about, them that have eyes, let them see, them that have ears, let them hear. There are indeed these connections. And no matter whatever it is that you have to go through, understand what I'm saying to you now. No matter whatever it is that you have to go through, you are part of the one body. The world is not on your shoulders. When you might have heard some old folks say, give it to God, understanding that you are indeed a part of God. That you, as this dot over here, you don't have to bear the world on your shoulders because you have all these other dots that you connected to, and collectively, we can share that burden. We can share that load collectively. So the inspiration tonight is knowing that we are indeed, as we said at the beginning of the show, everything that ever was, is now, ever will be, is a piece of God, and God is indeed almighty. So with you being a part of the Almighty, may that grant you peace no matter whatever it is that you have to go through. And may that knowledge be inspiring to you in this upcoming week, and inspire you to know that you can make it through. In your God self, you can make it through. And it's my prayer that as you are making it through, that God Almighty grants you and yours peace. Until we meet again here on The Message, may Almighty God bless you and yours with peace.